Welcome back to How I See It. Now, I'm a great believer that street photography can be practiced just about anywhere. On the street, obviously. On a beach, yep. A country lane, yes. Probably even on the moon, yeah, why not? Anywhere where there is evidence of the impact of human life. But there's no doubt that shooting in a busy city is more likely to deliver the goods than a visit to a small, quiet country village. Today's video takes place in London again. And the thing about London is a little bit like the Madness song Our House, where the line says, "There's always something happening and it's usually quite loud." There's always something happening in London, and it usually is pretty loud. On the day that I shot this video, it was the Champions League final. The city was full of rival Borussia Dortmund and Real Madrid fans looking forward to their day ahead and the match in the evening. And you'll see their impact on the video. But the point I'm making really is that you can go to the same place over and over again, and it's the people that make the difference. On this occasion, the football fans. Come with me. Just enjoying the long shadows on the bridge. Nice to get the shadow without the person. There's a shot in here somewhere. It might be too busy, but I like the diagonal handrail here and the top of the bridge. And if you can isolate somebody in here, could be good. So I've just stopped just off the embankment and I've come across this old telephone box, which gives me lots of nice frames and the potential for maybe a bit of a story. Phone, people walking away. Always enjoy shooting through phone boxes. The lines give you some great frames. The phone itself sort of tells a story. It's on Haymarket. I like these pillars. Good rhythm to them. Problem is the background's really busy. I'd really like to capture something framed between them. Chances of getting anybody the right shape to walk through, pretty remote. But remote is my middle name. Actually, it's Jonathan. I realise as I'm standing here, trying to squeeze the right person into the frame, that actually I'm a bit fussy, because it needs to be somebody with well-defined features, as in they're not dressed in a really bulbous coat or kind of rucksack or anything like that. Be male or female, maybe a hat, an umbrella, not that we're going to get that today, but just something which gives the body a little bit of geometry. And there ain't a great deal of that. There's a lot of people in football kits, and a lot of people in these fleecy jackets and hoodies, which are all a bit anonymous and amorphous, and you see them everywhere. And I need someone stylish to come through. And not only that, when they do come through, ideally I need to catch them mid-stride so that there's a really clearly defined body shape. There's a dude coming in a suit. If he stays the right side of the pillars, looks like he's going to go the wrong way. Oh yes sir, come this way, good man. And we might catch him. Let's just see what we get. This is when I wish I had it on multi-exposure, but I have not multi-exposure, you know, several frames per second. And he's not coming. They have got that. Fingers crossed. Yes. It's not bad. Just found these. Never seen these before. But what a great background. as ever, what does it need? Just don't know until I see it, but it could be a great black and white shot. I'll hang around here for a few minutes. I'm not going to give it long because it's very quiet, and I don't really know if there's anything here, but you never know. So not having managed to get anybody walking into the frame at all, I'm going to use the side of this ball as a frame, and we've got a chap here having a cigarette. I quite like the reflections too, but if, again, it's a question of getting him isolated, no cars, no pedestrians, and if you wouldn't mind, sir, exhaling, if you'd be so kind. Yeah, but when you exhale, you have to breathe out and up. There's also potential for a little frame there with somebody walking through between his right shoulder and the curve of the ball. But again, there's a lot of busy background. I quite like the way the windows of the building opposite are reflected in the ball as well. Could be quite a decent black and white.
The holistic transport line, married, children, home, everybody. The Holy Spirit, God bless you. The Holy
I love these lines in the green. Boo. It's always funny what takes my fancy, but I really like the blue wall, the gap, the posters behind, the scaffolding, even the car. Just provide a really good frame for someone to come through. Just found this window with all the hearts. That's quite nice. Frame somebody in there. I'm just working this spot here, really between the window frame and the one on this side with this poster and the plant, but there's also a reflection in there. Something about people on a break, body language, the cigarette, always drawn to it. Just, This place always gets me. Look at those old signs, just fantastic. I don't know whether they're genuine or retro. They look genuine. They look like they've been there for years, and I think they're painted on. Absolutely fantastic. I never get the right person coming through. One day I will. So if you're down in London, the Photographer's Gallery is always a great place to go, and they've recently converted it into what they're calling Soho Photography Quarter. Got these giant fingers, Novi's giant displays you can see in front of me. Always worth popping in to the gallery and seeing what you can find. And I've just found a gorgeous looking car. I'm not a petrol head at all, but this is beautiful. Let's see if we can get some nice shots. Beautiful old Cadillac. Look at that. Wow. Handsomely refueled with a flat white and one of the photography gallery's chocolate brownies, best I've found. But also mind refueled, having just spent a good hour looking at Bert Hardy's retrospective at the Photographer's Gallery. I would recommend it, but it finishes tomorrow, so check him out online. Classic British photographer from just before the Second World War until the 60s, I guess. May well do a video about him sometime. Anyway, up onto Oxford Street, ready for the maelstrom. This is fast-paced, from the hip, classic street photography, Gary Winogrand style. I'm actually going to swap the 35 for the 24mm lens because that's going to give me a much wider frame and I can get in really close amongst these people as we go along. So I've got the 24mm lens on now. I don't know what I'd done to it. Looked like I'd eaten my dinner off it. Anyway, it's all cleaned up, ready to go. I do like this lens. It's possibly my favourite, although 28 seems to be my go-to, but there's just something about this that I like. I love it on the tube because you can sit on one side of the tube and shoot to your heart's content. People on the other side, get loads of them in. Nice and wide, doesn't distort too much, but gives a kind of quirky little distortion to it when it does distort. But it's perfect for scenes like this, where you're going to be in amongst everybody and moving through really quickly, shooting from the hip. So. Really popular spot for street photographers. Have to say, I never get anything here. I don't know why. I do quite like it. I just haven't found the right shot. I like the frames provided by the underground signage. You've just got a constant stream of people coming through. Some real characters. But never quite made it work. Soak up those vibes. Yeah, I just can't bring myself to stay in this crazy for so long. It's just, I don't know, it doesn't encourage you to stop and think, it just encourages you to blast away. And although there's merit in that sometimes, I'm just not feeling it. So I'm going to head down Regent Street and towards Piccadilly, if you know where I am. You can see quite a few crowds up ahead and even more of the Champions League signage. Who knew it was such a big deal? So making my way through the fast-paced madness. I'm trying to think about what it is exactly that I'm looking for. It can be all sorts of things. A moment of intimacy, maybe colour matching, people dressed differently to what they may be, looking slightly out of place from where they are. Could be a gesture. But to be honest, it's just so quick fire, everything coming at you from left, right and centre. Cigarette exhaled, special occasions. Yeah. You don't necessarily know you're shooting on instinct, using the experience you have, whatever that may be, and yeah, just seeing what you get really. down into the belly of the beast. Love a bit of symmetry. Someone could fill that centre spot quite nicely. Or not. Just need someone to come up for a train to disgorge its contents. That was a good day in London, and I've printed out 4 images actually, and all black and white, which was a bit of a surprise to me, but I'll hopefully explain those as I go along. So first up is this one. You'll remember this chap from the video. They were singing as they made their way down Haymarket, Real Madrid fans, early in the morning, but clearly full of alcohol and a good time. And as is often the case when you're walking along with a camera, especially if you're carrying a GoPro that you're talking to as well, you draw a little bit of attention to yourself. And this guy with his friends was coming down Haymarket singing in Spanish. I have no idea what they were singing, but a football song, quite rowdy. And he saw me, approached me, and he waved the can of beer in my face. All very good-natured, nothing overly aggressive about it at all. And he moved on. It was all done in a fraction of a second. The colour version is quite colourful. The football kit, yes, it's a white shirt, but you've got the colours of the Spanish flag in there and everything as well. It just seemed to work better in black and white. And if those of you who remember the video will know that actually this is a crop from what was a landscape photograph, and there were people exiting the scene and coming into the scene from left and right. Having filmed the video, I actually felt it worked better with this portrait crop where he films the frame, and I like the way the can is slightly out of focus. It's as though he's almost reaching out of the image towards you, and the harsh black and white contrast, it gives it a sort of a documentary feel. So I think this was probably my favourite shot on the day. In fact, I liked it so much that when I stopped and had a coffee, I was already sending it to friends and putting it on social media. So that's my first image from the day, and probably one that I think will make it into my favourites of the year, because it's just it's very reminiscent of the day and the atmosphere and everything that was going on. My second image is this one of the chap in the blue suit, promoted to black and white here actually. As you saw in the video, I worked the scene, and that always immediately gives you a bit of investment in an image. I waited quite a while for this guy to come through. I was hoping that he'd go to the left-hand side, his left of the pillars, which he did. And I was hoping to catch him mid-stride, which I managed. There's also a little bit of eye contact, very fleeting, because the time that he is visible between the 2 pillars is very short. But thankfully for me, his whole frame, including the foot, which is very close to the edge of the pillar, fits exactly. I like the rhythm of the pillars. I suppose if I'd been slightly further round to the right, I may have got a few more pillars in, but it would have narrowed the gap here, and the chances of actually catching him would have been lessened. I'm not so keen on all of this busyness in the background. The building I could probably live with. The scaffolding does my head in a little bit. Not much I can do about it. That is street photography. But yeah, there's something that I do like about this image, and I know in previous videos I've harked back to Sergio Lorraine and his book about London in 1959. It does have something of that feel, the classic columns, the black and the white, the sharp dressed guy, and I'm, you know, I'll definitely take that. Then this image of the guy having a cigarette on Haymarket, a nice break in the traffic and the busy pedestrians that were passing by when I was shooting it. Incidentally, these 3 images the Real Madrid fan, the guy walking up Haymarket, and this chap here were all taken within minutes of each other. So it was obviously a lucky or a particularly rich spot of the day for me. But I do like this. The balls in this, was it Dover Street Market, was it called, are a fantastic abstract addition. And you've got I think I referred to them as reflections, but I don't think they're reflections. Actually, they might be. I'm not sure whether they're reflections or whether they are actually see-through. I don't think this is a transparent ball. No, it must be a reflection. So even more, I like the way they line up here. The curve gives a real bit of interest, and the harsh, straight vertical and horizontal lines here frame him really nicely. Black and white. If I'm fussy, maybe if he was a slightly further over this way and we got the whole of his body in, and if he'd done as I was wishing, put his head up when he exhaled, a nice little plume of cigarette or e-cigarette smoke in here would have been a great addition. But I like this one. It's a surreal, abstract-ish image, which certainly makes you question what's going on. My final choice was taken on the Tube, and it's not a great picture, but it just appeals to me for the faces. So again, this is with the 24mm lens on, which is perfect for shooting on the Tube, because you can sit on the seats opposite and know that you're going to get these people in focus on the other side, and they're all going to fit within the frame. To me, it's all about the faces. So it's bookended by these two women, both of whom have spotted me and are wondering what the hell I'm doing. Both giving me very disparaging looks, probably can't quite believe that I'm taking their photo. The lady here, the woman here, is miles away, obviously deep in thought, looking up or reading the Tube map on the other side, headphones in, music playing. But it's this chap's expression that really appeals to me, because he definitely looks like he's up to something, and I can't imagine what. But it's the imagining what's going on in his head that works for me, in contrast to the faces of the women on the Tube. So yeah, not a bad day out. 4 images printed out. I think probably 2 keepers for me. These 2, I think, are probably ones that will make it into my favourites of the year, you know, when I'm talking about 100 or so images. But yeah, I'm definitely pleased with those 2. So I hope you've enjoyed another trip out with me, this time to London. Stick around, give me a like, give me a subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Take care.